This is a dog whose story came this close to a happy ending several times within only a year and a half, and I've been waiting and waiting for that closure so I can finally say, here's the before and after. But there always seems to be a new after every time, and I can't wait anymore. So this is Sheldon, and this is his story so far. That's how I met him, and no matter how much I try, I can't get that image out of my head. I fell in love instantly. He was rescued together with his brother from the streets. They were starving, they had mange, and they hadn't really had any contact with humans until they were 5 months old. What a start to one's life, huh? We used to call them our little chickens because the lack of hair and those pieces of dead skin still hanging on to their faces made them look like two rescued chickens, really. The first time we took them out in the clinic's garden, they didn't know what to do with themselves, and with freedom within the safety of the first place they ever felt comfort in. You could tell that Sheldon was the sickest of the two. He was more timid, and his hind legs could barely function. It was only him that had been hit so hard by malnutrition, and this was the first of a long line of only hims to come. Within his timid, reserved happiness, he was moving around in a way that seemed like he was trying to self-soothe himself. He was adorable. And when he finally approached and felt a warm, friendly hand petting him, he started whimpering. And that's when my heart broke to a million pieces. That puppy crying at his first feeling of a human touch, that's the Sheldon I would keep in my heart and mind forever, I thought. In time, they recovered from mange, and they started looking more like puppies than like elderly, worn-out souls. And some smiles started appearing in their young faces, together with new fur and a new attitude towards everything. And just as hope started making its way through the back door, it ran out of the front door with a huge bang, and Sheldon got sick with parvo. Once again, it was only him that fell ill. His brother Cooper never had the slightest symptom. We thought that parvo would kill him, being so weak still, but it didn't. Our little chicken recovered. He was reunited with his brother, and they both continued on their way to recovery. Every time they seemed stronger, every time they seemed happier, every time they had a bit more healthy hair on them and a bit more of that puppy playfulness that they had missed out on when they were younger. They were extremely cute at that stage. Both of them. It really felt like it was the beginning of their new life, having so much to look forward to. They were innocent, they were healthy, and they were happy, and that's all that a puppy needs to be. Soon after that, we separated them. We always separate siblings or puppies that might not be related but have grown extremely attached to each other to avoid littermate syndrome that can seriously destroy dogs, sometimes for life. So now Sheldon had his new routine. He had his new friends, he had his own personality to discover and to explore. And he was going to have a bright future ahead because we were all extremely fond of both these dogs. Around this time, we thought he had found a home. Someone had been following their story and asked to adopt him. So they both had blood tests. They were of an age now when we could test for Mediterranean diseases because under the age of 7-8 months, false positives and false negatives make it impossible to know if a dog has actually been infected or not. His brother was healthy, and for the third time, Sheldon was the one screwed. He tested positive for leishmaniasis. His adoption was cancelled. He now had to undergo yet another treatment for yet another disease that could potentially kill him. His treatment went well. He appeared to be getting healthy, and life in the shelter kept being what it was for both of them. Sheldon grew to be a laid-back, easygoing, sweet dog. Not the most social of dogs, but he couldn't have been. Other than starvation, disease, and fear, he knew nothing about life. But he was a trusting, innocent dog, and he would do very well in a home with some socialization and some proper training. Soon after that, his brother got adopted, being white and healthy, and Sheldon was left behind, once again alone in his own journey that seemed to be never-ending. He grew even more. He became a tall, slim dog, and the truth is that there was nothing about him that resembled the puppy we had rescued. His fur never became healthy-looking and shiny. He remained with frizzy, scarce, dull hair for reasons that had nothing to do with his previous skin issues. It was just the quality of his hairs. Another adopter became interested in him around that time and was the second one to back out because it was around that time, as he was reaching adulthood, when Sheldon started walking funny and we noticed that his hind legs didn't seem normal. And they weren't. Both his kneecaps were dislocated, probably due to genetic factors, and talking about genetics, he was the only one of the two brothers who had this issue. And the only solution is surgery, and orthopedic surgery is a long road to travel. Rehabilitation takes time, and proper rehabilitation takes a lot of effort. So anyway, he did have his first operation, and the surgery went well, and there he was, back to the place where it had all started, the clinic, where I first met him, and where I would fall in love with him all over again. I started visiting him at the clinic regularly and taking him out for walks. He's not a properly socialized dog, as I said. He doesn't trust strangers. He doesn't know cars. Traffic, loud bangs and noises scare him. But he does have a pure heart, and as the walks became more and more frequent, he would be more and more calm. I really bonded with him on those walks, doing nothing much really, just walking. But that's maybe the most important thing you can do with a dog to build trust. Walk with them. Have them face the world with you by their side. There were times during those walks when it felt like it was just me and him together. And whenever something scared him, he had me by his side, and we built a bond based on trust. At the same time, he would have massages and physiotherapy also every week. Hours and hours of physiotherapy where he would walk in circles and walk around cones and have his leg lifted and then walk again. His knee needed to recover because he needed to start putting weight on that leg so that he could one day have surgery on his other leg. And around this time, he got close to being adopted for the third time. The family visited him at the clinic, then visited him again. We walked him, we explained everything about his character, about his health issues, and about the second surgery he needed to do in a few months. And they were so nice and so keen. In 2 Saturdays from now we can take him home, they said, and I was never happier. So he had blood tests because we always test them before they are adopted. And what do you know? He was sick again. I mean, seriously. He tested positive for leishmaniasis again, and this time his kidneys were affected also. And she wasn't even 2 years old. And he would have to have yet another treatment that was not going to be easy with such kidneys. And then what about the other surgery for the other leg? He had an uphill battle ahead once again, and this time he had 2 issues to face, not one, both at the same time. He was in no position to be adopted, being so sick, so that was the third adoption of his gone south. And here we are to today. He's back at the shelter where he's having his treatment. His knee sort of recovered. He's getting supplements for his kidneys also, and, well, yeah, that's it. As I said, a never-ending story. I walk him every time I'm at the shelter. He's as eager to go for a walk with me as he was back at the clinic. I love him. I can say that now I love him for who he is now, not for who he was as a puppy. That whimpering, miserable puppy will always be somewhere in a part of my soul that holds the most vivid memories. But now that I've grown to love this shy adult dog, that's the dog I want to help. I'm not sure how I can help him really, but I will figure that out. We're not very optimistic about his recovery this time. He seems weak. Doesn't really have an appetite to eat. But I can't see his story ending in death after only 2 years of uphill battles. And just because suddenly, as I'm writing this, I'm becoming superstitious, I'm not even gonna try to end this video in any particular way, because I just don't want the story to end. Not yet, anyway.